We made medicine from the windcrest you picked. The doctor said Hazel looks better every day. This morning, she was able to get out of bed and do some drawing. She loves drawing pictures. Thanks again, Catalina. From Al.
And Hazel.
P.S. Please visit Foca when you have a chance.
Another letter from Al arrived. Hazel had fully recovered and was bouncing about with unbridled energy. Al had returned to work on the reconstruction site and was working twice as hard to make up for lost time.
Is it just me, or is his writing messier?
It wasn't just Vern. Not only were there more missing words and misspellings than usual, the lines of Al's letters were harsh and tangled. Evidently, he'd scrawled them in a great hurry between jobs.
I got a bad feeling that next up, it's gonna be Al himself stuck in bed.
I shared Vern's sentiment. This was a boy willing to pick herbs from death's very garden for his sister. There was not an ounce of self-restraint in his character. I could only hope that he would emerge from this trial unscathed. Reading Al's third letter made my head buzz and my hands go numb.
Help! Hazel got sick again. Doctor says he don't know what's happened. The medicine we made don't work no more. What do we do?
It struck me that I, a Skyfarer they had only met once, was all the help these children had left to turn to.
Catalina, I'm worried about Hazel.
Lyria, who had been reading over my shoulder, looked as pale as death, and I thought I heard the fierce thudding of her heart. Let's head back to Foca, quickly. We learned not long afterwards that the captain, who at times seemed to command a sixth sense, had already asked Rackham to set course for the city. Al, Hazel, don't lose hope. Help is on the way.
During the next month's visit, Malfira looked more downtrodden than I had ever seen. Vern expressed his distress before I could vocalize my own.
Holy spools, lady! You look like you've been up all night. You feeling okay?
Malfira meekly raised her head, barely affording him a grin.
My love, he didn't come back to me.
It took me a moment to find a response. I'm sure... I bet he'll find a way to return next month. She had already been waiting an eternity for him. What comfort were my words? And yet, she still found the strength to smile.
I hope so. I'm so tired of moping around like this. It's getting harder to stay positive, but I'll find a way, for his sake. That man, you know, he's so absent-minded, he probably mixed up the date on his ticket.
Malfira unrolled the blanket across her lap, checking the backing of her stitching.
I've poured a lot of love into this design. I hope he likes it.
As she vacillated from melancholy to forced cheer and back again, I had to bite my lip for fear my thoughts would spill out. 1 month passed, and still no word from Alfira's beloved.
I'm sure he has his reasons.
Lyria tried to comfort the young seamstress, but Malfira's smile was noticeably dimmer than before.
Yes, you're right. He's not one to take risks or push himself too far. There's nothing to worry about, I'm sure.
Her words sounded strained, like she was trying to convince herself. I thought I knew what was happening, but I couldn't bring myself to acknowledge it. Not yet. We were all stuck in awkward silence, so I changed the subject.
How did you two meet?
It was in this very plaza. He was a bookworm, so he came here to do his reading. I was out catching some sun myself when he found the courage to sit next to me. I turned to greet him and he shoved a book on embroidery in my face. Not the greatest first impression, huh?
Energy returned to her movements. Color returned to her smile.
So what did you do?
You're going to laugh. I told him I already owned the book. His face turned pale as a ghost, but it was cute, seeing him all vulnerable. So I asked his name, and the rest is history.
She shut her eyes, savoring the nostalgia. Then she sighed.
Guess I'll have to go to Dolly and drag him home myself, won't I?
No, not that. I couldn't let her go to Dolly alone. After witnessing her optimism return, I couldn't let her learn the truth.
Так, мне надо играть за
Have a nice day.
с раком.
I've got you covered. Learn me something. Let's try her out.
Yes, can I help you?
Piloting an airship ain't easy work. Whether it's plotting a windward course or conducting some routine maintenance, you can always count on experience and intuition. Ha! Just a little further! Finally, the Grand Cipher broke through the nebulous shadows and turbulent winds of the
Какая
Grand
фейта
Basin,
поиграю?
and to greet us on the other end was our reward, the brilliant clear blue. It was a panoramic azure, dappled by silver-white clouds and gleaming from the light of a new day. Always an exhilarating sight to behold. Judging by the cries of celebration starting to spread across the deck, took it my crewmates would agree. Damn, who'd have ever thought a young dreamer from Port Breeze would make it all the way out to these skies? The Grand Cipher and I, we'd gone through thick and thin together. It's a long story. It all started on that fateful day I met the captain. I haven't looked back since. Right then, landing maintenance. Fuel stores, full. Engine, all clear. We were ready to disembark.
А, я не то я смотрю, блин. Ёбаный дурак.
I mean, sure, the Nautilus may be old, but she's got plenty of potential. She could easily outpace any other cargo ship in the fleet. At least 3 times faster!
Found the poor bastard blathering his woes at a tavern in Folka. The seat next to his happened to be conveniently open, so I took it. Without so much as asking my name, he launched into story after story. It was clear he still needed to vent. Apparently, he just recently started his career as an engineer. Planned on restoring the Nautilus. Would revitalize the local economy, help Folka this, assist Timpil that. He went on and on. But I knew he wasn't gonna feel better until he confronted the actual issue at hand. Don't get me wrong, I think it's great you want to help your home like this, but that's not the real reason you're upset, is it?
That obvious, huh? I, made a promise to my friends. One day we'd fly our beloved Nautilus across the skies together.
But the ship in question was long past its heyday and had deteriorated beyond the point of conventional repair. Time is a cruel but patient mistress, and among the original Nautilites, only Kent had yet to accept reality. After he finished his explanation, silence fell between us. Well, until another man frantically stumbled into the tavern. I'd seen him somewhere before. Oh yeah, one of the naysayers from earlier, the merchant.
Somebody help! Anybody! Monsters are ransacking my precious cargo!
I was torn. Do my civil duty as a Skyfarer and save the cargo, or help this ass determined to crush the dreams of my newfound friend? So, I asked Kent.
What? Of course you should help him!
Not a moment's hesitation from the kid. I like that. This would have been the perfect moment to ensure the continued survival of the Nautilus, at least in the short term. But despite that, Kent didn't think twice about helping his fellow man. Hell yeah, Kent. I'll see what I can do.
Well, another day, another dime.
According to the merchant, our destination should be around here. Just hope there's anything left to save. Let's get moving.
The cargo should be right up ahead. We're almost there.
Goblins? What the hell are they doing here?
Bring it! Don't let up! Go time! Between the eyes! Don't let up! That all? Go time! That all? Bring it! Don't let up! Bring it!
I'll say we didn't warn you.
Not enough for you. And saving this one. Don't look. You go time.
That doesn't work.
Not bad, if I say so myself. Now then, we're working.
Come on! Take that!
That must be the cargo we're looking for. Cargo's safe and sound. Maybe. Looks like it's been rummaged through.
Watch out, Raccoon! We've got goblins and vipers on our trail!
They'll take more than that to dupe us.
Clean the eye! Bring in the picture! That all? That all?
Things are about to get dicey. Just don't let him get close to the cargo.
Come on! Oh, you're in for it!
There's still more of them! Stay sharp, everybody!
Here's a little payback. Here's a fun trick. Go time! Fire in the hole! Bring it! Bring it! Come on! That all? Take that! Bring it! Come on! Hot enough for ya? Take it! Here's a little payback.
So the big shot finally decided to show up, huh? Well, you're going down like the rest of them.
Come on!
You monsters screwed up big time today, because you chose to mess with the best crew to ever cross these skies. Ha! One for the books.
Oh, you're a lifesaver. How could I ever thank you?
You want to thank someone? Thank him. I gestured toward Kent. The man's face filled with shame as the irony dawned on him.
So it was you, huh? Hey, listen. I'm sorry about earlier. I could have heard you out.
After the merchant left, I wanted to focus on the next goal at hand. Putting some wind back in the Nautilus's sails. So I proceeded to do some intelligent and, dare I say, brilliant thinking on the topic when Kent asked what I was talking about. Whoops. Must have been thinking out loud again. You just wait and see.
Hello there.
How many times do I gotta say it? Getting parts to fix the Nautilus out here in the boonies is next to impossible.
I've never been good with women. My words never come out quite the way I mean for them to. I thought maybe Miss Mechanic would be on board, but... I probably shouldn't be doing this behind Kent's back anyway.
I'm telling you, I've tried everything. Sure, I'd love to see her fly again, but it's time to... get real. Right?
Hey, come on. That was against the rules. How was I supposed to keep a stern attitude against that blubbering mess? When I finally got a word in edgewise, I let her know I already had the parts she needed. Picked them up here and there, across Fanta Grande and Nala Grande. Here, this what you need? I've got you a deal.
Wait, how? Where in the skies did you find these?
Caught up in her excitement, she leapt at me. Whoa, not so close, Missy. Of course, she paid me no regard. It was the parts she had her eyes on.
Some modifications here and there, I could... Yeah. Can't believe it! The dream is alive!
Yep, the dream was alive. She didn't have to say it. The look on her face was enough. All that hubbub from earlier was nowhere to be found. After forking over the payment, she happily took the spare parts off my hands. She also made sure to plant a big fat kiss on my cheek before scurrying off. Sheesh, at least warn a guy beforehand, right? Women, I swear. In any case, the winds were starting to blow back in their favor.
Rackham, there you are. I've got huge news. Listen to this.
It was clear from Kent's smile that the repairs on the Nautilus were going smoothly, thanks to a mechanic friend of his. Well, ain't that something? I'd be lying if I said I wasn't impressed. Those parts weren't the easiest to work with. Not bad, Miss Mechanic.
Rackham, sir? My friend told me she got the parts from a traveling sky fair. That 3-day-old scruff and a little swagger to him. You wouldn't know anything about that, would you?
Huh. Well, I keep my scruff in an elegant chin strap. Thank you very much. Not sure I sounded very convincing, trying to play off his answer, but I'm a helmsman, not an actor. Huh. But just another performance or two, and the Nautilus would be skybound once more.
The Nautilus is skyworthy?
I wasn't sure which was greater, the helmsman's confusion or Kent's enthusiasm.
Yup. We've got one last bit of patching up to do, but she'll be ready before you know it. Isn't that exciting?
Unexpectedly, the helmsman's confusion shifted into something darker. I decided to pry. Yeah, we'll have you back at the helm in no time. Unless you're getting cold feet or something. Yep, hit the nail on the head. The look in his eyes was unmistakable. He feared the skies. Despite his attempts to hide it, his fists were balled up and trembling. I knew the signs well enough. It wasn't my place to snoop further. From his perspective, I was just a busybody trying to dredge up a dream he'd long laid to rest. What could I do anyway? This was something he had to deal with himself. But hey, if I got through it, anyone could. So I did what I could. Put my hand on his shoulder and gave him a sympathetic nod.
Come again.
Pow! They'll never see me coming.
Need a pro, eh?
Так. Так. Или так?
time to view the requests. The villagers didn't seem too worried about Lev. According to them, he'd have to venture much deeper into the forest before encountering any monsters. But that wasn't the issue. It seemed like nobody wanted to talk about why he'd run off in the first place. It was an obvious cry for help, and nobody was helping. I went through the same thing back in the day. Even after I met my master, there were times when the loss of my parents was just too much to bear. I didn't go so far as to run from home, but I'd sit alone in the corner of my room, hugging my knees to my chest and crying. Whenever Master Zaka found me like that, he'd always perform a silly magic trick to cheer me up. Just like me, all Lev wanted was for someone to find him, to take his hand. So he went off on his own in the hopes that someone would come for him. I'm sure he knew it was selfish, but it was the only card he felt he had left. Do you think this means Lev doesn't want to live at home anymore? I had a feeling that wasn't the case. He's probably just going through a rebellious phase.
Oh, that's when kids start arguing and acting out, right? Catalina told me it's pretty common. Did you have a phase like that?
Lyria's question was innocent enough, but I was too embarrassed to admit that I'd ever gone off alone because I wanted someone to pay attention to me. Heck no! That's not something befitting of a grown lady like myself. So what if I told a little lie? Our biggest concern right now was Lev, who was out there, probably crying with his back up against some rough, silent tree. He needed a friend, and I was more than determined to be one for him. This forest is as huge as ever. I sure hope Lev's okay.
Come on! We've gotta find him! And fast!
Не, я верну им. А, сейчас не могу. Да, похер, пускай вечно.
It'll be bad news if he wanders too far in. We gotta track him down. Got you for ya. We're still on the edge of the forest, right? What are goblins doing with the tingles?
Like that?
Hey, there's no time to waste. We've gotta find him.
Watch out for the flyers! We're gonna need that magic of yours, yo!
You reap what you sow.
Bind together!
I don't see him anywhere.
That's a lot of monsters! Meredith will just have to take it all out.
I'm on it!
This'll hurt.
One more!
Incoming!
Oh, come on! Just leave us alone already!
Y'all keep me young.
There's way more where that came from.
You reap what you sow.
Gravity well.
We got it!
Got him in my crosshairs.
Let's go alone out there! Come on!
Yeah, we got him good.
Look, there he is. Over there.
I'm the one you want!
Jerk's trying to get me. Quick,
Get in the circle!
Here's a little favor.
Bring you up!
leave it like that for the shooter.
Like that?
None of your face, Dad.
Let's pick it up a notch.
No place to hide.
You reap what you sow.
Don't worry, they're gone now. You okay?
Yeah, thanks.
Да мне пока не выглядит, честно.
We were lucky we found Lev when we did, or he would have been Monster Chow. But before we could talk to him, the town watch came hurrying over.
Lev, your parents are worried sick about you. Come on, let's go home.
Lev looked away, ignoring the old man's outstretched hand. I could imagine how he was feeling, being treated like he was selfish and immature, when all he wanted was someone to sit down and talk to. The man sighed and scratched his head in frustration.
Your mom and dad are fine people. Try being a little more considerate, okay?
Lev immediately bristled at those words, breaking his silence.
What do you know? This is all your fault!
Knocking the man's hand out of the way, he turned and ran deeper into the forest. It was like watching a scene from my own past, but I wished he'd get a grip already. The deeper he went into the forest, the more likely he was to get attacked. We had to hurry. Hello there. We all split up to search for Lev so we could cover more ground. I didn't see any trace of him at first, so I thought I must have gone the wrong way. But then I noticed footprints that looked like someone had slipped over a nearby ledge. And sure enough, when I peeked down, I saw a familiar figure sitting hunched over, knees to his chest. He looked a little scraped up, but didn't seem to be hurt badly. I was just glad I'd managed to find him still in one piece. When I told him I was a Skyfarer, he immediately burst into tears of relief. I could tell he was upset with the villagers about something, and that's why he couldn't be honest with them. But as an outsider, I thought I might have a chance. Watch closely. I'm gonna cast some special magic just for you. It was time for one of my master's patented magic tricks. I showed Lev my empty palm before covering it with a handkerchief. I flung the cloth away, and voila! There was a piece of candy in my hand.
Wow, candy!
Here, you can have it. After devouring the candy, he finally calmed down.
Thanks.
Normally, that would have been enough to lift any kid's spirits. but his face fell again as quickly as it had lit up. I guess he really doesn't want to go home. I decided I wouldn't leave him until there was a smile back on his face. While we were still deep in the woods, I decided to ask Lev up front. Why did you run away? He hesitated at first, but after seeing that I was serious, he started to open up.
My mom and dad used to work as doctors in Tempe.
Back then, all had been well with their family. But when Furikin went berserk, they lost their home and ended up moving to Folka. And that was when things started to fall apart. His parents began to spend all of their time tending to patients who were affected by the disaster, with hardly a moment's rest. Lev watched as his mom got paler and the black circles under her eyes grew darker and darker. He begged her to take a break, but it was no use. Eventually, she collapsed from overwork.
I told her she wouldn't be able to help people anymore if she got sick. She just wouldn't listen to me.
And here I thought he was just a kid going through a rebellious phase. That wasn't the case at all. That's really grown up of you, Lev. You're just worried about your mom and dad, huh?
Yeah.
After hearing Lev's explanation, I finally understood how he felt. I knew how hard it was watching people you cared about pushing themselves too hard. I couldn't stand to see my master doing it either. And that's exactly what was going through Lev's mind. He wasn't being selfish. Everything he did, it was because he loved his parents. If it were me in his shoes, I'm sure I'd be worried sick about my parents too. There's nothing wrong with worrying about your parents. I'm sure they're proud to have a son who cares so much.
But
what? Something was still on his mind.
I always wanted to be a great doctor, just like my mom and dad. But after my mom collapsed, I started thinking maybe everybody else was just using them.
Along the way, he'd stopped being able to trust the people of Folka, and he thought feeling that way meant he could never follow in his parents' footsteps. Lev stared at the ground as he spoke, finally confiding his troubles to me. After hearing his story, I began to open up about my own parents. He listened to my words in silence. My parents had also strained themselves too hard after getting sick, and eventually passed away. So Lev's circumstances were all too familiar. Just like him, I felt nothing but bitterness and despair. There was one difference. I've got to admit, I envy you a little. After all, your mom and dad are still alive and well. While we were standing there talking, Lev's parents and the villagers were probably beside themselves with worry, braving the dangers of the forest to search for him. When I told him that, Lev finally seemed to grasp the situation.
I really messed up, didn't I? I'm sorry.
Are you sure I'm the person you should be saying that to? I stood up and smiled at Lev. He and his family all seemed like really good people. The only thing they needed to patch their home back together was a long heart-to-heart. As we made our way back to town, Lev still seemed anxious. Don't start freaking out yet. First you need to apologize to your parents. Then you can tell them everything you told me.
Well, how am I supposed to say it, though?
Talk about helpless. Lucky for him, he had a grown-up lady around to nudge him in the right direction. How about I teach you that special magic I showed you earlier?
But that wasn't real magic, right? It was just some cheap trick.
Rude. It was good enough to make you stop blubbering, wasn't it? Come on, let me see your hand. The trick I showed him could be used without any special training. It was the magic designed to bring smiles that my master had taught me. Lev watched me closely, then tried his best to copy what I did. He practiced over and over and over. After walking through the forest for a while, we heard the voices of Lev's parents and the other villagers.
Lev? Answer if you can hear me!
Where are you, Lev?
Mom! Dad!
As soon as Lev heard his parents' voices, he broke into a run. At that moment, the villagers' shouts echoed through the nearby woods.
Look out!
An enormous figure was approaching, knocking down trees as it lumbered toward us. It couldn't be. A goblin?
Intruders, die!
It all happened so quickly. The goblin lunged to attack Lev's parents.
You're gonna have to go through us first.
Huh? Lev was speechless. It seemed as if the entire town of Folka had stepped up to protect his parents from the monster.
Puny Wickers.
What I did next was purely out of instinct. Freeze! A block of ice appeared out of thin air, slamming into the goblin's head.
Tasty meat. You first.
The spell had done its job. I'd gotten the goblin's attention. I'd finally made a breakthrough with Lev. I wasn't gonna let monster breath over here ruin their happy reunion. Bring it on! I've got a spell with your name on it.
I wish there was something we could do to help her.
I'll try mixing up a potion. That should do the trick.
Too hot to handle. Bind together.
He's putting up one heck of a fight.
No. She needs medicine, quick!
Here, you! I whipped up a potion for you! Thanks! You're a lifesaver!
There's more of them. What do we do now?
Stand back, everyone! I can handle this by myself!
Too hot to handle.
Here's another potion with your name on it! Thanks, Lev. Just what I needed.
Burn you up, Healing wind! Heads up!
There's more where that came from.
Too hot to handle. Huh? One more.
Another revival potion coming up. potion coming up! Another revival potion coming up! Fire! Time to rock! Roger that! It'll take more than that to scare me. Yeah, you got this! Never give up! There's more where that came from! I'll burn you up! It's not healing wind! Gravity well! Another revival potion coming up! Too hot to handle! Just watch it! Never give up! Healing wind! Too hot to handle! Come on, you can do this! Fire! Here we go! Heads up!
actually do this.
Take this! Take that! Too hot to handle!
Not quite.
Fire! Heads up!
Надо позже это делать. Когда она будет мне уровня выше, тогда и будет.
Yes, can I help you?
Так, здесь мне нужен Юджин, да?
Have a nice day.
Yep, let's move out. Yes! Lovely!
Hello there.
Garzeda stared at the sunbeams as they illuminated the cliffside. His eyes were watering, and not just from the sun's rays.
When we were kids, we made a promise. Once I became a proper jeweler, I'd share my most treasured secret with her. Cowardly, yes, but that was the only way I could tell her how I felt.
It all made sense now. His deepest, darkest regret was putting off telling her what was in his heart for so long.
We made that promise ages ago. I wouldn't have been surprised if she forgot all about it.
Garzeda paused, as if remembering something. He lifted his gaze to the sky, then continued.
Oh, right. I have to go back to the mines in Tempil. There are keepsakes of hers there. I don't think she can move on without them.
I could tell how important this was to him. But when the people fled Tempil, a horde of monsters moved right on in. Actually, forget the fiends. Garzeda wasn't in shape to go anywhere right now. What do these keepsakes look like? I can head to the mines and track them down for you. Considering his condition, I wasn't about to give him room to argue. Besides, I know all about not being able to share the important stuff with a loved one while there's still time. There's so much I didn't get to tell my family. Even now, thinking of our old house makes my heart ache something fierce. That day, there was no one to greet me when I opened the door. Seeing the cold remains of my home tore open a void in my heart. But you know what? I managed to keep going because my friends were there for me. This time it was my turn to support someone who needed it. The keepsake should be somewhere around here. Might as well inspect the mine shafts as we go too.
The place is crawling with goblins!
Can't just let them run amok. Time to get to work. That was too easy. They act like they own the place. Sorry, but you're you're gonna have to move. Well, who invited you to the party? That butters my biscuit. Zeta's counting on us to find those keepsakes. Step on him! Zeta's counting on us to find those keepsakes. A watering can, a shovel. These are the keepsakes.
Huh? Did you hear that? Whoa!
Here's a little taste.
And look at the size of that one!
Here comes trouble. Oh, no! We got the big one. I think we can rest easy.
Great! Let's head back to town.
Sheesh, the place was crawling with goblins. Good thing we came instead of Carzeta. Carzeta said his friend loved flowers. Tempeal's soil was harsh and didn't lend itself to flora. But her dream was to grow a variety of flowers and let them bloom all over the land. Knowing how much her dream meant to her, Carzeta wanted to bring her gardening tools back and place them in front of her grave. His hands were trembling when I passed them over.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
He was so choked with emotion that each word sounded pained, like thorns sticking in his throat. I kept my eyes on him. It felt like if I looked away for even a second, he'd fade into the great blue beyond. He was still grappling with his hurt. You wanted to say goodbye to her properly, right? Come on, I'll go with you. I slapped him on the shoulder, silently willing him to pull himself together.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Carzeta hugged the tools tightly against his chest, his teeth biting down hard on his lip. It broke my heart, seeing someone so young deal with such overwhelming tragedy. The least I could do was help him see this through.
Hello there.
Just as we arrived at the cemetery, the clouds opened up, unleashing a torrent of rain. The blue sky was gone, painted over by a steely, unforgiving gray. Looking around, I saw that there were others paying their respects at different plots. Like Karzeda, they probably lost loved ones to the storm. As soon as he laid eyes on the mound of earth in front of him, the dam broke. Karzeda's shoulders heaved with his sobs.
Why didn't you say those awful things? There were so many more important things I wanted to tell you, but
He sank to his knees, crippled with grief. His fist beat at the earth, sending drops of muddy water splashing onto his face.
I didn't want that to be our last conversation. If I hadn't blown up, if we hadn't fought, I only wanted to see you smile. But I made you cry.
All I could do was watch over Karzeda as he poured out the feelings he'd held back for so long. Let it out, son. It's the only way to get through it. After the visit, we made our way to a tavern. We could hear the rain beating down on the establishment. It was still day, but the sky was dark as night. Karzeda ordered the stiffest drink they had and downed it in one gulp.
My friend once showed me a flower and said that each one symbolizes something. At the time, I didn't get it, and I had other things in my mind, so I never bothered looking it up.
He shook his head, saying that he'd wished he had treasured those small, everyday moments with her. Each word struck me like a blow, reminding me of my own failures.
How am I supposed to live with this regret? It's like the storm outside, pounding on me until I give in and let it sweep me away.
I mulled over his question for a while before opening my mouth. I'm not the right person to answer that. Only your friend knows.
But how? She's...
So I told Karzeda about my wife, and about the agony of losing her. All the things I'd hoped for, things we could do as a family, were no longer possible. The chasm of remorse threatened to swallow me whole. I couldn't imagine things getting better. Not then, not ever. But I was still alive. Unlike my wife, I still had a future. Didn't that obligate me to move forward, to find meaning in being left behind, and try to fulfill what she wanted for me? Didn't that apply to Karzeda? You want me to go with you? To find that flower, I mean? Maybe finding it would give him the answers he needed.
You think we can find the flower? That sounds like a good idea.
Karzeda spoke haltingly, as if remembering the times he shared with his beloved friend. She'd always loved flowers. Tempeal was a land forged by its mines, and its climate wasn't suitable for flowers. But that wasn't going to stop her. As if that thread of memory had unspooled another, Karzeda said that his friend mentioned having a secret flower garden. But she hadn't told him the location, so he wasn't sure where to begin looking.
Sometimes she'd head out to a forest near Folka. If the garden's anywhere, it's probably somewhere in there.
It might be a long shot, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't try. I drained the last of my glass. We stepped out of the tavern. The rain had stopped. The air was humid, but the sun was a welcome sight after the rain. I squinted up at the brilliant blue sky. There, arcing over the forest, was a large rainbow.
right, see you.
I'm your rose.
I'll give it my damnedest.
Подожди, я могу без нее обходиться? А, я ж в компании играю. Так я могу без нее, да?
Yes, can I help you?
Это хорошо. Открою когда-нибудь, пока мне этих раскачивают.
The bustling streets and alleyways of Seed Hollow were steeped in an unusual silence. Rumors of the phantom sightings had spread, and the citizens became too fearful to leave their homes. We were still missing a part of the picture, but what was it?
I'm sure it was just someone's minds playing tricks on them.
Poor Lyria. I needed to wrap up this investigation as quickly as possible. However, despite our comprehensive search of the castle, nothing stood out as unordinary. We'll have to come back another day. Just then, I noticed a faint movement in the corner of my eye. Wait, it couldn't be.
Huh? What are these guys doing here? We already took care of Angraminu.
Ominous forms. Foul creatures born from the primal beast Angraminu. Surely they weren't the cause of the sightings, were they? I had my doubts, but this was no time for questions. The castle was in dire need of some pruning. Such hostility. It seems we've no choice but to fight.
These are the ghosts.
You can't keep up.
Gives me the willies.
We'll uncover the truth soon, so hang in there, okay? Don't play too... What do you think? This place will need more than a restoration if we don't do something about this. Do forgive.
They still ain't cleaned up. Stay sharp, guys.
I'm here.
Hang in there. Help is on the way.
Looks like it's clear for now. Shall we? Fight harder!
Thanks for the save.
Let's finish this so we can get the heck out of here.
He supposedly disappears if we attempt to get close. Perhaps that wasn't the entire truth. Time for you to go. Our job's not finished yet. Shall we? They've infested the entire courtyard. Who's ready for a prune? There now. A bloom for how luscious.
My lord! Fighting up close won't do us good here.
Sounds to me like it's time for a ranged battle. It's right up your alley, isn't it?
Can't keep up?
They hunt from
You want more?
underground. You can't lose track of them.
My god.
Just like that. Sure thing.
I hear ya.
Oh my, thank you. There now. More. There's such a thing as being too popular, you know?
You better hold
Not today. Quite a tenacious bunch, aren't they? Mr. Moose, where are they coming from? A bloom for any season. Do forgive me. Take them down. You rugged old mercs have that certain je ne sais quoi.
It's the beard. Really sharpens the face, you know.
Can't keep up?
There's still more of them? Get us through already!
Here's a little paper.
Welcome to my garden.
Follow me!
Let's go.
I want to be just like you!
My gorgeous blossom. You already are.
I'm coming! I'm right beside you!
Did I worry you, sweetie? That should be the last of them.
And stay out!
Wait a second. What is that? What's this? A crystal fragment. I took a closer look. Within its faded luster was a familiar green aura. But where had I seen it before?
Hold up a second! Doesn't that remind you of those hallowed ground spots?
Vern was right. Its glow was nearly identical to the crystals found on hallowed grounds. Their unique aura kept monsters at bay, providing travelers with safe haven. Did this shard come from one?
It's faint, but Excavalian's aura. I can feel it coming from inside.
That couldn't be. I focused on the crystal splinter in hand, and indeed, there was the presence of a familiar primal. Excavalian was the primal beast of Dolly Island, much farther than a stone's throw from here. So why were we able to feel its presence all the way in Seed Hollow?
It's not the only one. I think I can feel another primal beast here too.
Another primal? How could that be possible? A phantom girl, Excavalian, ominous forms, and now another primal beast. None of it made any sense. As we unraveled more of the castle's secrets, it became clear that we had barely scratched the surface of its walls.
Come to view the requests?
We were back at square one. In hopes of finding some new leads, we split up and interviewed every Seed Hollow local we could find. Despite our efforts, we found little new information. Zothba and his connections, on the other hand, proved invaluable once more as they unearthed a new clue. The girl wore a crown of flowers. I froze in place. I knew this primal. In fact, I learned of her on my first visit to Zega Grande. Konohana Sakuya, was it? Yes. An ethereal girl bearing a floral crown? It had to be her. Her presence would explain why Lyria sensed a primal beast in addition to Excavalion. She was pack-bound to Ulmarine Island, and she held domain over blossoming flowers. The unusually vibrant bouquets blooming across Seed Hollow just added more proof of her proximity. With the culprit identified, only one problem remained. Me. After what Sakuya and I went through, I doubt she would ever show herself around me again. Before I could share this revelation, there was something else I needed to discuss with the crew. Not about Konohana Sakuya, but my time spent with the captain's father. His crew was on a journey to collect Astrum fragments. These fragments were said to have fallen straight from the astral realm and contained the power of the primal beasts themselves. Using the fragments, the captain's father could separate astral power embedded within primal beasts and return them to their original forms. That was the purpose of his journey. His was a mission of liberation, to free so-called deities and legends who were tethered to the Sky Realm. Once free from the shackles of their corporeal forms, they could fade back into the nebulous ideas and faiths that had given them structure in the first place. Of course, it would be up to the primal beasts themselves to make this decision. Some had grown quite fond of living in the Sky Realm. However, there were countless others who were born into the skies, cursed to fight for eternity. These were the ones who longed for a return to the immaterial. At the lowest point in my existence, when I felt I had no purpose in these skies, I'm sure I felt the same. Regardless, some were quick to brand us a ruthless crew of primal hunters. And surely Konohana Sakuya had heard the rumors. But the question remained, why had she decided to reveal herself to me now? Unfortunately, simply knowing the identity of the girl would not solve the problem of her many phantom appearances.
So, is this, Kahuna Yakuza? You think she's the one causing the monsters to come out?
Unlikely. I've never met her in person, but I don't think she and the ominous forms are connected in the slightest.
Yo, got some new intel on the girl. Still, working the case, right?
The family Zothba had been continuing to search for clues in the background, and thankfully, their search bore fruit. In one of the areas where the ghostly girl was sighted, a bystander had found an ancient book.
Broke my brain trying to read the dumb thing, but you're smart. Pretty smart, and, well, yeah.
Oh, poor boy couldn't even get his words straight. Thank you. You're quite the gentleman.
No, I'm not. I'm a badass. Anyway, I should get going.
He had barely placed the book in my hands before scurrying off. What had gotten into him, I wonder? I opened the book and peered through the rune-like characters inside. No normal person would be able to decipher this.
Oh, that looks really complicated. Really? Let me see.
When Vern approached the book, Roland's transceiver began to glow. It illuminated the text, somehow morphing the illegible script into something readable. My breath caught in my chest. Had an astral authored this book?
Так, зафейгли.
All right, see you.
This is a pet-friendly mission, right?
Так, 568, 177. Да, оставлю пока.
Yes, can I help you?
Ну, пока ничего сильнее у меня нету.
No, you should stay here. We'll go for you. Dolly can be a dangerous place, and I'm sure your partner wouldn't want anything to happen to you. I hoped that logic would be enough.
Dolly? Dangerous? But so many people live there. But if a sky-faring crew is offering their services, who am I to deny professionals?
Vern scrunched his face in confusion.
Lots of people? What are you talking about? Dolly's basically a giant sand...
A quick nudge was enough to interrupt Vern. I hoped Malfira had missed the majority of his comment. You can trust us. We handle this kind of assignment all the time. We'll be back before you know it.
Okay, let's do it.
My air of confidence, false though it was, seemed to bring her welcome relief.
Could you take the blanket with you? I wanted to give it to him myself, but I know he's probably already spent weeks freezing at night, and it won't do me any good here.
She pushed a soft bundle into my hands. It was warm to the touch, thanks to the silk from Fondom, but it was also warm to the soul, thanks to the love and care that Malfira put into every stitch. Of course, it would be my pleasure. All pets on deck. According to Malfira's map, the excavation was near the central ruins.
You sure you want to trust that dusty old thing?
Point taken. But we can at least get a sense for the lay of the land. Now let's go. This place is crawling with monsters. Stay on your toes, everyone. Thanks!
No place to hide!
This is fire! Here's a little paper.
Press the advantage! place up so we can start our search. Work. Let's break you in.
You reap
Now,
what you
the
sow.
hunt begins. Now, everybody. Whoa, sweet.
Get trapped.
Ready
A
for
little
action.
payback. Bring in the big guns.
It doesn't look like anything's here. Maybe we'll find something back at the western campsite. It's worth a look.
Do these guys get paid to fight us or what? Don't help me out.
I'm starting to get restless. Come on, let's hurry. Thanks for stepping in, Eugen.
Don't mention it. Go.
Ready to go. Beppo, take the front.
This place feels right somehow.
I think I saw someone over there. Let's go. Where'd that dude from before go?
I think I know.
No, it can't be.
I'm afraid so. He's no longer with us, but we've at least found his resting place. That's some comfort.
No, that's impossible.
We all stood before a grave, created 15 years ago in the wake of a terrible calamity. Carved on the back were the names of the deceased. And there, in the middle of them all, was the name of Malfira's beloved. I wrapped the blanket around the stone, tying it securely so the harsh desert environs wouldn't steal it, like it stole the lives of these scholars. Maybe it would at least keep their memory warm. Malfira put her heart and soul into this blanket. Take care of it, okay?
Come to view the requests?
When I returned to Seed Hollow, Malfira's voice was shaky.
Is he okay?
I couldn't face her as I struggled out a response. He's fine. He said the survey was taking longer than expected, that it's going to be a while before he can join you.
Oh, thank goodness. I was starting to fear the worst.
She was relieved. I was crushed. But how could I bring myself to tell her the truth? He said thanks for the blanket, that he'll never feel cold again.
Of course he won't. We made sure of that by retrieving the silk from Fondom.
Malfira's joy was contagious, but I still had to force myself to smile. I'm not sure if my act was convincing, but I knew, more than anything, that I didn't want to show her how sad I truly was. When her own grin softened, I knew my ruse had failed. If anything, my glaring lies had only cast a light on the truth she buried deep in her mind.
Oh, I can't thank you enough for delivering the blanket. I knew I couldn't rest until it was safely in his arms.
It clicked. Malfira knew what she was. She knew what I was. Hearing the sorrow evaporate entirely from her voice confirmed it. But now nothing bound her to the world, and she began to fade, like mist in the morning light. I watched, tears in my eyes, as the contours of her form blurred into abstraction.
Somewhere deep down, I knew I had died. It was the day he left for Dolly. I'm not sure what happened, but I just had to wait for him, hoping he would come sit next to me one more time. I've held on to that hope, what seems like an eternity.
Malfira, I'm sorry. I feel like I lied to you.
Oh, hush now. I bent the truth too, didn't I? I was glad for your company. Happy to have someone to chat with.
Malfira brought her hands to her chest and looked up to the infinite blue stretching above us.
Do you think he liked the blanket? Do you think he's warm now?
He was overjoyed. You found the best thread, stitched away in the sun, and poured your love into it. How could he not be? She smiled her last to me, more genuine and placid than ever before. Before we went to Dolly, I wanted to confirm my suspicions about Malfira. I checked with an airship engineer about airbuses to the desert.
Dolly? No liner's been out that way for about 15 years now, on account of what happened and all.
He explained that the last ship to Dolly was filled with scholars and their families, leaving on a journey from which they'd never return. But 15 years. She'd been waiting 15 years to deliver her gift. I knew her isolation. I wouldn't let her wait any longer. Before I was ready to part ways with Malfira for good, I decided I needed to build a new grave for her and her beloved in Dolly. I realized that she had been right. With both sand and chill nipping at your skin, the desert nights really were cold and unfriendly. Wrapping the blanket around the new gravestone, I looked up at the full moon and saw 2 shooting stars falling through the night sky like tears down a cheek. And I knew, despite the chill, this was the perfect resting place. I turned to my pets. It's okay now. They'll never be apart again.
All right, see you.
ready to go.
Couldn't resist my help?
If you've got the vouchers, I've got the sigils. Which crew member would you like to call?
Сейчас они у меня 45-го. Ну это мало. Блин, зря я, конечно. Надо было просто это.
Nice! Wanna see my new trick? I like it.
So then,
Come to view the requests?
Oh, hi, Azeda. Fancy running into you here. You're just as pretty as the first time we met. I had started to wonder if I'd ever see the little heartbreaker again. Guess I got my answer.
We talked for a bit, and I learned his name was Vaughn. I knew which question he wanted to pop, but I didn't have time to humor him today. A hospital in Seed Hollow was in dire need of medicinal ingredients, so it was off to Fondom for me and the crew.
Okay, gotcha. I understand.
Well, that was easy, considering how he kept pestering me. I didn't expect him to be so reasonable.
I know better than to get in the way of your job. I am a little worried. I'm sure the monsters won't give you any trouble.
You got that right. I eat monsters for breakfast. Aw, how sweet. The little doodlebug had total faith in me.
Stay safe out there. Come back in one piece.
I will. As I left to meet up with the crew, I made a mental note to pick up a souvenir for my biggest little fan. Sweet. I think that's everything on the list.
Good, because this heat's killing me. Let's get back to the ship.
Мне кажется, глупо сделано. Ну, хер с ним. Я еще так что качаю.
What the?
Holy! Could be a sign this place is ready to blow sky high.
Well, I'm not sticking around to find out. Let's keep moving.
Being boiled alive is bad enough. Now I gotta deal with wyverns?
I think the ground's seeping into the magma.
Screw these flying lizards! Where's the exit? Did you like that? No, hot! Can't go that way. We got a badass over here. Just grab ingredients, they said. It'll be easy, they said. This fight. Close call.
Fire spirit!
I'm sorry I ever set foot in this oven. Hot enough for you? How about you?
You better hurry. Blast through him.
If we can get to that higher ground over there, that should lead us back outside.
Can you pick up the pace? The magma's rising even faster!
Let the rain fall!
Here's a fun trick.
One more! Oh yeah! One more! Return front! Now!
Let us press on.
Yeah, I've got you covered.
Don't want to get left behind.
А как, куда мне идти-то? И как?
What the?
Oh! Could be a sign this place is ready to blow sky high.
Well, I'm not sticking around to find out. Let's keep moving.
Being boiled alive is bad enough. Now I gotta deal with wyverns?
I think the ground's seeping into the magma.
What? Screw these flying lizards! Where's the exit? Now, hot! Can't go that way. Now it's on.
There's nothing to pay
Radar
for.
time or out.
Just like the old days. Just grab ingredients, they said. It'll be easy, they said. This fight.
Fire spirit!
I'm sorry I ever set foot in this oven. This should shut you up! If we can get to that higher ground over there, that should lead us back outside.
Can you pick up the pace? The magma's rising even faster! Much more.
Are you injured?
Let's kick it up now.
Winter spray!
Here's a little payback. This should whittle you down. Bring in the big guy.
That is seriously hot.
I think we're safe here. Maybe.
Man, I really worked up a sweat. At least we didn't lose anyone.
Grand Cypher's just up ahead. Come on!
Thank you.
What are the odds of bumping into a golem in here?
I knew I had so many fervent fans. Thanks for making a gal feel loved. And to show my appreciation, I'm gonna turn you to scrap.
You ain't going nowhere. Keep your heads in the game.
I won't fail you.
That's not good.
Understood.
This is fire.
Jerk.
Let's kick it up now. Here's a fun trick.
It's over. We will prevail. We made quick work of them.
Naturally. Find their weak spot and expose.
Now, leave it to me. Way to fight, Red. Take that sucker down.
That's the plan. One pile of rebels coming right up. No place to hide.
You reap what you sow.
Close call. Don't get near the best. Get him.
Roger.
Let's go. Couldn't have done it without you.
I do my best.
You don't say.
Okay, this definitely qualifies for hazard pay. Oh, who am I kidding? Probably won't even see an extra rupee.
That golem ain't just gonna let us walk on out of here.
How about
Sure, you listen up.
I'll ease your pain. The battle's not over.
time to say goodnight? Yes, it is Canona. Neo!
Let's go!
Follow me. Has no equal. Catalina.
This fight is over. Fall now.
Shine as one. The astrophism. Say your prayers. Hey, what's this? A piece of rock from the golem? I like the way it glitters. Might make a neat souvenir for a certain someone I know. Phew. Easy peasy.
Welcome back, Zeta!
Vaughn was the first person to greet me when I returned to Seed Hollow. He ran over to me like an overexcited puppy. Here, I got you a little something for being good.
Whoa! This rug is crazy! It's all shiny and stuff!
I'm a pro at picking out gifts, if I do say so myself. After all, what kid isn't mesmerized by shiny objects? Vaughn wouldn't stop thanking me. I honestly didn't think he'd like it that much. But in this case, I was happy to be wrong.
It's amazing how you made it out of Fondom without a scratch. You're a one-woman wrecking crew.
Can't argue with the truth.
Anyway, it's cool that you're being nice to me, but I don't mind when you play hard to get either.
Huh? The nerve of this kid.
Are you blushing?
What? His confidence was respectable. Admirable, even. But seriously, get real, little man. Talking to you makes my head spin.
Does that mean you're falling for me?
No, it means I'm worried about your future. Years from now, Vaughn's gonna be breaking hearts left and right. Mark my words.